the unbeaten Creighton Blue Jays from the Big East. Alongside John Crispin, I'm Kevin Kugler, our starting lineups. And when you look at these lineups, you'll see 4 preseason all-conference guards on the list. Marcus Foster and Kyrie Thomas for Creighton, Bryant McIntosh and Scotty Lindsey for the Northwestern Wildcats. And John Crispin, if Northwestern's going to have another successful season like they did last year, Bryant McIntosh is going to have to play yet another big role.
Yeah, and he's going to have to do it night in, night out. And you can't really stop him without getting him in foul trouble. For Creighton, you just want to limit his overall effectiveness. Limit the opportunities he can create for teammates. And on the other end, with Marcus Foster, we talked to Greg McDermott before the game, and he just said his decision-making has improved so much. And that's a huge key. He's going to get looks because of the balance of this offense, because of the way they space. He's going to get put in opportunities to make plays. The decision-making is key.
20 straight games for Marcus Foster in double figures, obviously dating back to last year.
That's not high school either. I mean, this is kind of high-level basketball.
And it's at the end of a season that saw the NCAA tournament, it saw the Big East tournament, and a lot of Big East competition. Marcus Foster leading the team this year. He has scored 23 in each of the first 2 games. He's a handful for anybody. And Gavin Skelly has been a real spark for Northwestern. He had 14 points and 6 rebounds in the win on Monday. Also drew a couple of fouls, grabbed some offensive rebounds. He tried to be more aggressive on offense, and it really paid off for Northwestern.
And he's a difference maker. I mean, you're looking for that guy, and I don't like the term, but he kind of fits it, the X factor, right? He's that guy that can play multiple positions. He allows you to play big or small. Figure that one out.
Will you explain it later to see if I'm right?
Sure, I'll squeeze it in.
Here we go with Northwestern in control. McIntosh, the active career assist leader in the NCAA, brings it up. Scotty Lindsey. It'll be a real interesting matchup tonight between Scotty Lindsey and Kyrie Thomas early. In the corner, Skelly trying to provide the spark early, and the 3 won't go. The rebound to Davion Mintz. Mintz running the show at the point to start for the Blue Jays. Marcin Crumple inside. Good look to Toby Hegner.
Oh, you can already see with that first defensive possession for Northwestern, they're going to make an effort to switch. And if you do not communicate adequately every time down the floor, you're going to give up layups. And that's exactly what happened. I like the idea of switching, but you've got to do it well by communicating.
Skelly will try again from long range. This time he hits.
That's what you talk about, right? That's putting a 4-man out there that can play that 3 through 5 position. And that's where you want to see whether they can do that, pull the defense away, create opportunities with space for Bryant McIntosh.
Crumple trying to answer for the Jays, and he does. See some points on the board in this one tonight.
Yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy this game. I might just stop talking for the rest of the night and watch basketball.
Seems unlikely. Harden hands off to McIntosh. He'll try from on top. That's off the mark. And the rebound caroms into the hands of Kyrie Thomas. Mintz started up. Hegner will try. And a foul underneath, battling for the rebound. Scotty Lindsey got tangled up down there as Chris Collins changing things on the sideline in his 5th season as the head coach of the Wildcats. What a job the Cats did last year.
What a job he's done with his program. I mean, just changing the entire mindset, the perception of this program. We got to talk to him in the locker room before the game, and we asked about recruiting. Has it gotten easier? And he says, yes, we're respected. People know we're good. We don't have to sell them on how good we could be. We're already there.
Kyrie Thomas blocked away. Good block by Vic Law. 2 terrific defensive players, Vic Law and Kyrie Thomas. And we've got a whistle and foul. Crumple tied up with Derek Parton. When Dana Altman left several years ago for Oregon, Greg McDermott coming in, and he just kept Creighton right on track, helping them into the Big East Conference, and has really kept Creighton on the top of the conversation in a tough conference.
Yeah, I like the way they play. It's a fun style. It's a style that you can easily recruit with. They've been very successful.
And Parton with a travel. Defense by Hegner.
Do you think they know that Derek Parton wants to get to that left hand?
It seemed very obvious.
They just sat there and said, go right, son, go right. At some point, you've got to develop that drop step, left shoulder, right hook if you want to be an effective post player.
Hegner, one of his strengths, a very smart defensive player. He read the scouting report today. Kyrie Thomas working against Parton. Marcus Foster. Skelly on a switch on him. Mintz with 5 to shoot. Good defense by Northwestern. Thomas with the 3. 2 on the shot clock. It doesn't go. And Lindsay the rebound. Lindsay will try from deep. Halfway down. And Krompel the board. Krompel's been a big rebounder early in the season for the Jays as Mintz can't connect on that one. Pushing the other way. Lindsay on the drive. The bucket. No shot. They'll wave it off. The foul on the floor.
I like the tempo for both teams. Both teams looking to take early shots. If you have it in transition, you understand when you're playing against a good defensive team, you could work for 30 seconds and not get anything better than you got in transition.
Mintz with a foul, his first. Second team foul on the Jays. 3 minutes gone in this one. McIntosh around the Pardon screen. Hits the 3.
Not much more you can do with that defensively. There's nothing you can do. You just got to get out and force him to go over one way. Too many options for Bryant McIntosh.
Kyrie Thomas from the elbow. Fun start to this one.
It's a fun start. I mean, teams talk about playing with this kind of tempo and pace, but these are two teams that's part of their identity. It's who they are.
Lindsay curling around to get the deep 2. You'd think this would be an attractive destination for both, as far as recruits go, each team because of that pace and tempo. I know you would have liked this.
Yes.
Yes.
It's interesting, too, because these are teams that play with good balance. You have stars like Marcus Foster and Bryant McIntosh, but the spacing's good, and they play with balance, so they're sharing the basketball well. Easy opportunities for teammates.
Big Law, nice spin inside, left it short, and Krompel the rebound. Creighton outscoring Northwestern early inside 6-0 as they go back into the paint again off the Marcus Foster. Krompel able to keep it alive.
Vic Law is struggling a little bit with that foot.
Foul on Lindsay, and that's number 2 on Scotty Lindsay. Timeout on the floor. 1-point game early. At Northwestern, 15:40 remaining in the first half, and Scotty Lindsay before the break picked up his second personal foul.
Yeah, one of the big questions for Northwestern is depth, and if you want to remain a top 20 team, you've got to establish a bench. You've got to find out who can step in and fill a role, fill some of these holes for Northwestern. You know, 4 made field goals and 4 assists for Creighton. You got to be careful with some of this switching. Switching too much puts you in scramble situations. And if you're not communicating enough on the switch, you find yourself chasing the play, and that's why Scotty Lindsay ends up with 2 fouls.
And Lindsay with 2 fouls means Northwestern has to go to that bench early, John, and that's not been a strength early in the season. 13 bench points total in the first 2 games.
But I think it's
for
good.
With the Wildcats.
It's good. You go to the bench early and figure out what lineups work. Figure out your rotation, because remember, Big Ten play starts up December 1st.
Hegner working against Pardon. Pardon inside holds his ground, but Hegner scores over it. An 11-8 lead for the Blue Jays. Playing at Allstate Arena tonight, and all year long the Wildcats are. Their home floor, Welsh Ryan Arena, undergoing a $110 million renovation. They're cleaning that thing out top to bottom. It's going to be fantastic. But Northwestern will play at Allstate Arena, which is out near O'Hare in the Chicago area. Foster, the 3 in transition won't go, and Pardon the rebound. Marcus Foster 0 for 2 to start this one tonight. There's Isaiah Brown. Gaines on the drive, and Gaines is fouled. Anthony Gaines, the freshman out of New York.
You watch Creighton, what they do really well is they're patient and they space. When you see a 2-man game, you don't recognize there's 3 guys on the other side of the floor. Now you got a clear ISO going right at 1-on-1 with Derek Pardon. It's great defense, just better offense. But what you notice is there's no help, because the other side of the floor, the weak side, no one's running around in circles. No one's flocking to the ball like micro mini soccer. They're spacing and letting their playmaker make plays.
Gaines missing a free throw. That's news for Northwestern. They only missed 1 on Monday night in their win over St. Peter's. They were 23 of 24 at the line.
Yeah, they needed him. They really did. And there's a lot of questions right now about Northwestern, but the potential is certainly there. You see the personnel, and you get Aaron Falzone back soon, and it's a completely different team. You start to answer some of those depth questions.
Game's good on the second, 11-9. Northwestern down by 2. Tyshawn Alexander on the floor, freshman for the Blue Jays. Inside to Foster, and Foster able to put it in.
It's one of the hardest things to defend, a flare screen, rescreen, and Vic Law is forced to just chase the play. That's where you need the most help defensively. If you're going over the top on a flare screen and then receiving the down screen, it's a challenge. I mean, Vic Law is just chasing. He's got to get help, got to get the ball out of Marcus Foster's hands.
It's not as if Vic Law is a shabby defensive player.
No, he's one of the best in the conference.
Part of the All-Big Ten defensive team a year ago, and we've got a whistle and a foul away for the ball. Little screen set by Derek Pardon, and that's his first.
That's a point of emphasis in college basketball, is cleaning up screens. Where the heck was that when I was playing? Caught more knees and elbows than anything else.
Everybody was targeting you.
They didn't have to.
Tyshawn Alexander, freshman out of Charlotte, North Carolina. At Oak Hill Academy his last year out of college.
And it's this, they just went back to the same exact play. Ball goes to the top of the key. The two offside offensive players are standing. And you may think they're not moving, they should move. No, they're doing exactly what they should be doing. They're doing exactly what they've been coached to do. And you see the flare screen, re-sweep screen action putting a lot of pressure on these Northwestern guards.
First foul on Isaiah Brown, 4th team foul on the Wildcats.
Maybe forced to switch that.
7 to shoot. Tough catch for Kyrie Thomas. The pull-up for Thomas is good.
Can't play better defense. You cannot play better defense, but these guys are playmakers, and they're empowered to take and make tough shots.
7 for 12 from the floor to start off the Jays at 58% shooting. There's Pardon inside against Hagner. And he got the roll.
So where did he go? He went left shoulder, right hook. He felt the defender. Looks like he might have come down on foot. Hagner.
And this has been a concern of Greg McDermott in the early going, is the depth in the post, and some guys in the post, Martin Krompel, Toby Hagner, have battled injuries in their career. He's got a freshman on the bench that he really likes, but really, I think, would like to redshirt. Jacob Epperson.
That's an interesting,
a 6'11" freshman.
It's an interesting way to say, I really like him. I don't want him to play this year.
Right.
You got to understand, a place like Creighton, Greg McDermott does such a fantastic job of developing players. And one of the keys to developing players, not only physically, but skill-wise. And the skill set is not just to play the game of basketball, it's to thrive in his system. So when you see a player like that, you say, yeah, he could be effective for me now, but a year under his belt, he's going to be a fantastic player for this program for years to come.
Well, and you look at the example of Justin Patton, who Creighton had for all of a year and blossomed and became a first-round draft pick in the NBA. See if you can see here what happened with Toby Hagner.
Yeah, he just came down right foot.
Yeah, you can see it right there.
Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Hagner, who had 11 on Friday in the opener. He's made his first starts this year since March of 2016, was a regular starter in the early days as a J. He's in grad school this year with Creighton. And you saw him awfully smart defensively, and Coach McDermott saw him as a stretch 4, maybe a perimeter 5, but Hagner in some obvious pain right now. Tomorrow, the Gavitt tip-off games continue with a doubleheader on FS1. Friday, Illinois hosts DePaul on BTN. It's all still to come this week on FS1 and BTN, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go and BTN to go. Maryland and Butler at the half. Maryland by 7 in that matchup.
That's a good game, too.
It really is.
Man, I tell you, so early in the season, you get some of these matchups that challenge, and it's not just the players on the floor. These are challenges for the coaching staff to figure things out so quickly, to establish your rotations, to find out who your bench is going to be.
Mitch Ballack off the bench for the Jays, the 6'5" freshman. Here's Harrell. A very talented freshman in this Jays class. Out of the state of Kansas, was recruited by the Jayhawks, but opted to come to Creighton as the three falls for another freshman, Tyshawn Alexander.
You hear terms like chase them off the three-point line. Well, you got to do that with 1 through 4, likely 1 through 5 against Creighton. Force them to become drivers, and then don't overhelp. That's how you get beat.
Brown gives it back to Pardon. Pardon leaning, can't get it to go. Got his own rebound and puts it back up and in.
I think Pardon realized that he could physically dominate down in the paint with Hegner out, and you saw it on that possession. Somebody's missing a shoe.
Ronnie Harrell inside, and Harrell able to work around Anthony Gaines.
He's able to work around Anthony Gaines because all he had to contest with was Anthony Gaines.
Tyshawn Alexander
would be the term on that one. It's November. Just be patient with me.
Tyshawn Alexander's playing with one shoe on right now, defending out on the perimeter.
You know, he was a great decoy, too, because they were wide open in the paint for a one-on-one opportunity.
Harden got around shoeless Tyshawn, and he was able to get to the rim but couldn't put it in. Still running without his shoe. Will he shoot without a shoe? Crumple. Over to Harrell, and now to Ballard. Ballard inside. The floater falls, and the Jays stretch the lead to 9.
Wow. I mean, that's just impressive. What they're able to do in space. You've got playmakers and a lot of patience for the guys that do not have the basketball. This is a Creighton team that's been very impressive. I think Northwestern's got some opportunities. They've missed some open shots, whether it be from the perimeter or around the rim, but this is one-on-one ISO opportunity, no help. You've got to be happy if you're Greg McDermott. You've got a lot of weapons.
Basketball on BTN is brought to you in part by State Farm, here to help life go right. Here in the Chicago area as we welcome you back inside Allstate Arena. This was the injury. Toby Hegner a moment ago, his reaction right afterwards. Frustration for the grad senior.
Yeah, and the frustration, you talk about guys being injury prone, but they're just things that happen. Unfortunate things that happen when you put 10 bodies on the basketball floor and do the things that you do on a basketball floor.
Quick three on the outside, and Gavin Skelly trying to provide the spark again.
It's a great answer with a set play coming out of a timeout. Coaches love those because they draw them up.
Suarez rejected by Skelly, and now Lindsay back on the floor with those 2 fouls, pushing to Law. Law inside, and he walked.
Right idea for Northwestern to attack. Right off the bat, I'm concerned with Scotty Lindsay and those 2 fouls leading the break. The last thing you want to see him do if you're Northwestern is pick up an offensive foul. But you also see Creighton doesn't give you anything in transition. Just a very well-coached team. That's what I think this matchup's so good.
4th Northwestern turnover. No turnovers yet for the Blue Jays. The 3 for Alexander, and Tyshawn Alexander.
Chris Collins is upset because Barrett Benson did not get out on the switch. And again, you've got to communicate even more when you're going to switch.
Skelly inside. Barrett Benson is fouled, and Benson on his way to the free throw line.
He's going to receive a little bit of coaching. Now, here it is. This has to be the communication. You need to be yelling at your teammates. Switch, 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 switch. You know, stay out on the shooter. And that's what Chris Collins was upset about. Whether it's going to be a switch or a hedge, you've got to tell your teammate what you're doing. But it's evident that Northwestern's going to switch as much as possible to take those three-point opportunities away and use your length to negate that entry pass into the post. Sounds easy in theory, right?
It certainly does. You make it sound so easy.
I know. Gosh, they just can't figure it out. So many coaches talk as if the game should be 150 to 0. If everything just goes according to plan.
It's a great circle you drew there, too.
Too much coffee in me. Shaky hands.
Manny Suarez inside, and Suarez walked with it. First turnover for the Blue Jays. Subscribe now to BTN Plus and gain access to hundreds of non-televised games, including men's basketball, with passes starting at $9.95 a month. See your school in action and never miss a moment of the excitement. Get BTN Plus available on BTN to go.
That's probably, oh, look out.
Oh, and Vic Law able to flush it home. And here come the Cats, down by 6.
It's that flare screen over the top. If you trail it and get held up at all, you got a guy like Vic Law, you just throw it at the rim and go get it.
Tyshawn Alexander trying again and hitting again. 3 for 3 from behind the arc for the freshman.
Chris Collins again saying, get up, take the 3 away. Derek Parton's coming back in the game.
Law to work. Wow, Vic Law. He's got 4. Quick attack. Ballack inside, and Ballack right to the rim.
Just not going to talk for a little while. Watch this up and down action. Every time I open my mouth, somebody else scores.
Creighton's hit 8 of their last 9, John, from the floor.
They're getting easy looks. I mean, they're making some tough threes, but if you're a good shooter and the defense backs off, that's a good look.
Skelly inside against Suarez and a foul. Pretty good attack by Gavin Skelly, continuing his aggressiveness from the other night.
Gavin Skelly's that guy. Gosh, that's just a tough one to see.
Toby Hegner.
I mean, you don't understand. There's a human element to this that you can't talk enough about. These are kids that work all year round. And I know they're student athletes and they're in class and they're getting a degree and all that, but you work so hard. Your identity is wrapped up in who you are as a basketball player. So to miss out on opportunities because of injury, it's just frustrating. If anything else, it's frustrating. So much hard work. You just hope he's all right.
Two for 5 the line tonight of the Wildcats after missing once in 24 attempts on Monday.
How many times you want to mention that? I mean, I think they got a few more misses because of how many times you've mentioned that. I mean,
twice. Just twice. In the first 9.5, 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
On the drive, and Alexander all the way to the rim. Tyshawn Alexander into double figures. He's got 11.
Well, if you're going against Scotty Lindsey with 2 fouls, you might as well go after him. I think Scotty Lindsey was looking for maybe a ball screen and a switch.
Creighton's bench outscoring Northwestern 17-2. They've scored the last 17 points off the bench. And inside, Derek Parton with a pair. Alexander feeling it. First miss, Parton the rebound. Now the Cats will push. Lindsey in the corner with the 3.
This tempo and pace is just tremendous. Both teams, I know, you got to respect the shot, and there he goes. Wow, what a game. I'll tell you, this kid, he's terrific. He is a tough cover. I mean, that's like the old school pump fake, too. It looks like a Euro pump fake where they almost come off the ground. And when you're a threat from the perimeter, you've got to contest.
Yeah, good shot fake is so effective now. I mean, it's always been effective, but you don't see it as often anymore.
You know, the best shot fakes come from the guys that can make shots, too.
McIntosh can make shots. He hits that one. That one's easy, but he drains it. Quick ahead to Marcus Foster, who only has 2 points. Northwestern's hit their last 6 shots, working inside to Suarez, and Suarez finishes.
Such a tough cover when you're put on an island. They do such a good job of getting out of the playmaker's way and allowing him to work in space. And that doesn't mean that he's going to score, but if he can draw defense, it ends up being a layup.
Creighton is shooting 67% from the floor. Northwestern 65%. Ballack on the move. Weaving all the way to the rim, and he can't get that one. A little out of control. McIntosh dumps it down to Skelly. Suarez changed that shot, and the rebound to Tyshawn Alexander.
No, he missed that one.
Officials saying it was tipped.
That was not tipped.
Should have been a travel. Foster on the drive. The floater, no, but a foul.
I mean, the tempo, the pace of this game, you've got to get back. You've got to get down in the stance, and you can't be popcorn poppers. A lot of respect for that jump shot leads to an open layup.
Get into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2006. One of the most influential figures college basketball has seen. The Gavitt games, part of his vision, he thought that the college basketball world needed a high-profile event to start the year, and thus the Gavitt games were born.
Well, I mean, you used the right term, vision, right? A true visionary, understanding the popularity and the potential for this game with development, with some growth. And you see what the game has become throughout his time.
Right before that timeout, the foul on Derek Parton, his second. So 2 fouls now for Northwestern. We've talked about their depth. 2 fouls on Lindsey and 2 fouls on Parton.
Yeah, I think it's easier for Scotty Lindsey to stay out of foul trouble. It's hard when you get put in some ISO situations down in the post and you end up chasing the play, especially the way they've been switching. I almost think you have to go to a safer defense. Force Creighton to take tough shots. If they beat you with tough threes, they beat you with tough threes. But you can't get beat at the basket.
They shooting 64% from the floor. 10 assists, 1 turnover for Creighton tonight.
And this is where I want to see if you can get something out of Isaiah Brown here while Bryant McIntosh is on the bench. I mean, you know McIntosh is sitting over there itching to get back in the game. But you've got to be able to spell him some time, especially around those timeouts.
Foster on the drive inside, and that's a block.
No, that's not a block. If you're Chris Collins, you're frustrated with that one.
2 on Isaiah Brown.
I mean, it's bang bang, and I'm glad I'm not an official. So I'd mess it up all the time, but it is. It's bang bang, so it could go either way. From my expert opinion, that usually comes after 3 slow-mo replays, I would have said it was a charge. Also, you know, I'm completely unbiased here, and immediately I just don't see that as a charge.
Situation at the scorer's table, demanding the attention. Pat Driscoll.
Well, it's hard too for Chris Collins. He did exactly what you teach your players to do. Don't just swipe at the ball, get yourself into position, take it on the chest. So what you got to do is just turn around and tell your teammates, hey, look, good defense, let's stick with it. It's been a challenge defensively.
Suarez on the bounce to Mintz. Mintz is fouled. It's number 3 on Scotty Lindsey.
When you chase the play, when you trail the play, you put yourself in position to foul. I mean, we talk about Reggie Lynch in this conference in the Big Ten and his ability to stay on the floor. Well, you've got to be ahead of the play if you want to stay out of foul trouble. Scotty Lindsey just loses sight of the ball, loses sight of his man, and then you're beat. Almost best at that point. I don't want to say concede a layup at this point, but the value of Scotty Lindsey on the floor might be greater than 2 points.
One more for Davion Mintz as Lindsey will leave, and in comes Jordan Ash. So no Lindsey and no Parton for Northwestern right now, both on the bench with foul troubles.
You're going to learn about your depth really quickly here if you're Chris Collins. And you may start to have an opportunity, if you're looking glass half full, to look at different lineups, different rotations. Got guys like Vic Law who can play multiple positions. That's not the shot you want.
Nice tip ahead by Vic Law, though. Good recovery defensively. Open in the corner for 3 is Ash. Jordan Ash not able to hit. Law grabs the rebound and a foul. Good hustle by Vic Law on both ends.
Yeah, you got to keep plays alive. Vic Law took a tough shot, but he stayed with it. Got the tap from behind, and they ended up making something happen here. I think it's hard not to foul in a game like this. With the pace being what it is, be a little aggressive on defense. And as I said before, you're constantly trailing the play. So when you're playing a team with this kind of tempo and pace, you've got to get ahead. And getting ahead is not stopping the individual with the ball. Getting ahead means getting yourself into position first.
Ball can't connect on the front end. Creighton trying to extend its largest lead of the night. On the drive is Kyrie Thomas. The fadeaway not going to go. There's Suarez battling for the rebound, and Manny Suarez stretching that lead now. He's got 4.
It's interesting to see, too, Creighton, with the lead, continues to attack. And that's something, that's why they're successful year in, year out. It's not a team that takes their foot off the gas.
Driving inside. The floater doesn't fall for Anthony Gaines. Got a good look. Now Ballot. The no look to Thomas. Kyrie Thomas on the drive with a left hand. And a timeout taken by Northwestern.
That is such a tough thing to cover. When you're forced to retreat and then close out. So you're forced to retreat as Bryant McIntosh does. He close out. He's got to take that 3 opportunity away. But when you take that 3 opportunity away, it leads to a dribble drive. And as I said before, multiple players spaced out well, and you have room to work. It's just a very well-coached team. I think Chris Collins has to figure out defensively what they're going to change up. And maybe you just give them a few different looks. And it may be less aggressive attacking the offensive glass and just get back, take things away. And teams like Creighton, you have to retreat to the 3-point line. You can't just retreat to the paint and close out. It used to be get back to the paint and protect your basket. Different story here against Creighton.
Saturday, the pregame show for Big Ten fans comes to you from Penn State. As Dave, Spice, Stanley, Jerry, and Michelle get you ready for an exciting day of football. BTN Tailgate presented by Geico, Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on BTN.
Spice is hilarious, by the way. I'm not a big social media guy, but I get a kick out of him on Instagram, man. He's hilarious.
McIntosh the 3. And that's a big bucket for Northwestern.
Northwestern's had success out of the timeout. They might want to use every one they have. They've gotten good looks out of timeouts. That's the second 3 out of a timeout that they've gotten.
Was make in the last 7 attempts for Northwestern. The kick in the corner, and Alexander loses it, and Alexander travels. Same thing he did before.
Same exact.
Creighton, when people look at this box score for the first half, John, they're going to see that Creighton right now has outscored Northwestern in the paint 26-8, and people are going to say, boy, Creighton's bigs must have done some work, but it's not the big guys.
It's not the bigs. Ultimately, it's the, again, I hate to just hammer this point home. You see Bryant McIntosh pull from 3. It's the spacing. And when you have playmakers that you have to respect from the 3-point line and there's good spacing, you're going to be able to get to the basket like that.
And a chance at a 3-point play for Kyrie Thomas.
And that's a point in the paint. So it's not that the bigs aren't dominating the game. Look, the bigs are doing exactly what they're coached to do. Just set ball screens, flares, dive to the basket, but also stay out of the way. It's a weird thing to think about when you're such a high-level player. Sometimes you have to get the heck out of the way. Doesn't mean you're a decoy either. It just means you're allowing your playmaker to make plays.
Northwestern at home, down big with 4:10 to go in this first half. Creighton pacing right now for another 100-point game as the dump down inside to Skelly, and not going to go, and Thomas the rebound. Creighton averaging 100 points per game in the first 2 games, and Ballot can't connect on that one. It'll go out of bounds and belong to Northwestern. Creighton with a 15-point lead on a 13-3 run over the last 4. Really a problem for Northwestern.
Yeah, well, when you get spaced out, when you have to contest threes, and I mean transition threes, you have to contest the 3-point line in transition, and then you get broken down on the dribble drive, you're going to pick up fouls. You're chasing the play if you're Northwestern, so I think you've got to get back to some level of more of a safe defense. And it sounds terrible. It's not pack line, but it's position first and contest tough shots. Again, if you make tough shots all game, if you're Northwestern and Creighton makes tough shots, so be it, but you can't give them these easy points in the paint.
Creighton with a lot of balance too, John. 7 Creighton players with 4 points or more already in this one.
Just impressed by their patience. I mean, they've been very patient. Without the ball, they're very patient, let things happen.
McIntosh with the pull-up. Good patient offense there for McIntosh.
Well, he at some point, Bryant McIntosh is going to take over this game for Northwestern, and he can do just that. And part of it is he needs his teammates to do what Creighton's been doing. Space out. Let them work.
Those Wildcat double figures. He's got 10. Suarez inside against Derek Pardon. Pardon back on the floor with those 2 fouls. And that's going to go against the Jays and Suarez. Coming up, our State Farm halftime report. Plenty to talk about at the break of this one. And our State Farm halftime report will cover it all coming up. 3 minutes and 10 seconds away. But not in real time, so please don't time us. That's basketball time.
Sure you'll get a tweet about that one.
Probably from you.
No, I'm not.
You're dumb, Kugler. I'm sitting right next to you.
I'm not that active.
No, you're not.
I'm good for a retweet on some of your pictures, your selfies.
As long as you're in them.
Yes.
Skelly on the front end is good. He'll get the bonus.
I'm not self-serving. Come on, Kevin. How long have we been working together? Come on, man.
Seems like forever.
For you.
Skelly good on the pair. 11-point game. Tyshawn Alexander's had the hot hand tonight for the Jays. 11 points off the bench.
And there's the switch. Derek Barton with 2 fouls. Covered Tyshawn Alexander. If I was Suarez, I would have gotten the heck out of the way. Let him work.
Suarez against Parton. And the left hand falls for Manny Suarez. The nation's 14th active oldest player. Turned 24 years old on Sunday to Manny Suarez.
Once again, it's just an ISO 5 feet from the basket. Why not?
Harden left all alone. The three not going to fall, and Kyrie Thomas the rebound. Suarez will try. And Gaines cleans it up for Northwestern.
You say that, it's like some sort of a record. The 15th active oldest player.
14.
14.
To be specific. Okay.
I don't really care to be that specific.
Didn't figure you did. See a lot of 24-year-old guys hang around these days in college basketball. Or any day for that matter. McIntosh. Boy, there's not anybody in college basketball that does that better than him.
No, I mean, he's under control. Look out.
Boy, Ballack gets rejected. Cats will push now. McIntosh going for it in transition. The penetration, the floater won't go, and the rebound to Alexander. Ballack from the elbow. Pinball's out. Jay's cooling off a little bit right now.
Jay's cooling off, and Chris Collins wants a good set here, and he's got some good things out on the offensive sets, especially out of timeouts. But I think the pace is going to wear Northwestern down.
Catching a little breather here. Now we'll go with 10 on the shot clock. Law around the screen for 3. Big bucket.
And Greg McDermott wants the timeout because they have struggled to defend in the half court when Northwestern gets set. They've had all the success in the world getting up and down the floor and all the success in the world on the offensive end, but so is Northwestern. 41 points for Northwestern, 8 behind Creighton. Bryant McIntosh, we said at some point he's probably going to start to take over this game, and quite a few steps, maybe a little Euro in there. And then defensively, although you're getting beat to the basket, 2 defenders there to take it away, and you hope that Derek Barton doesn't pick up that foul. It'll be his 3rd foul, and then Vic Law off the set. Open threes. It's really been an impressive game for both teams.
9-2 run for the Wildcats late in this first half. They've closed to within 8. Jays have cooled off, as we mentioned, just 1 for their last 6 from the floor. And Creighton's largest lead of 15 cut in half.
It's a really high-level basketball.
It is.
I mean, I think you come into this because Northwestern's 20th in the country. You expect them to be really good. Creighton has somehow slid under the radar, and if you're watching this game and you don't think they're a really good basketball team, you're crazy.
Just a reminder, they were picked 5th in the Big East this year. And there's a foul on Vic Law, and that'll be his first.
I mean, that's that flare screen, down screen. That is so hard to defend. I think I've said that a few times. If I were a college coach, which I'm not, I would run that. I would pick on one guy. I'd pick on the best defender. I'd go to Vic Law, and I would run that 5 straight times in a row and force him to fight over those 2 screens. Fight over the flare screen and then fight over that down screen.
First free throw, good. Flip it then. How do you counter that if you're Northwestern, because you're seeing it over and over again?
Look, I think if it's a flare screen, you've got to switch. You've got to switch it. It's easier said than done because these are bigs that know how to read that, and that's what we're not talking about enough is their ability, Creighton's ability to read and react on the offensive end. So, yes, I would say switch it to eliminate, but if you switch, the guard's going to flare out and the big's going to dive, and it's going to be a post-up opportunity. So, easier said than done. I mean, pick your poison at that point.
Nice skip to Law, left it a little bit short. The rebound tipped into the hands of Gaines. Skelly got a piece of it. Gaines driving inside, won't get it to go. Suarez with a clean play inside, and now Creighton on the push again. Here's Alexander, open 3. And Jordan Ash with the board. About a 5-second differential game and shot.
And at this point, again, Northwestern's had success executed in the half court. If you can cut this thing down to 8 or possibly 7, you should feel pretty good if you're Northwestern and Chris Collins. Especially with the foul trouble. Excuse me, Kevin.
Creighton, meanwhile, has done this without much from their leading scorer. Marcus Foster's had a quiet first half, just 6 points.
Such great balance, though.
McIntosh weaving inside. The pull-up falls. Here comes Foster. Waning seconds. Foster lost it inside. Ball knocked around, picked up by Law. Three-quarter court heave. Good if it goes. It does not. And halftime is here. It's an 8-point game, and this has been fun.
This has been fantastic basketball. Up and down. It's been great tempo and pace. High-level teams. This is
to start the second half. In All-State Arena, Creighton with a 51-43 lead over Northwestern. First time allowing 50 points in the first half for Northwestern since November 29, 2013. Creighton has a propensity to score an awful lot of points. They did it again in this first half.
Yeah, and they've done it by getting it inside. And that doesn't mean using your bigs. The guards have done a great job with space, getting to the basket. And when you get layups, it just changes the game. The defense has to converge. The defense has to converge when you can shoot threes. And that's kind of why they got so much space. So Northwestern may have to pick their poison. I think that their opportunity will be forcing tough shots from the perimeter, no more layups at the rim.
Greg McDermott's squad got 11 points out of Tyshawn Alexander, 9 points out of Kyrie Thomas in that first half. A lot of balanced scoring for the Blue Jays.
And only 6 for Marcus Foster, which that's kind of scary if you're a Northwestern Wildcat fan, because he could get it going in a hurry.
23 in each of the first 2 games for the Blue Jays. Lob inside, Ronnie Harrell turns around, and Harrell can't get it over Pardon. Remember, foul trouble hit the Cats in that first half. Harden with a pair, Lindsay with 3. And this second half begins with Scotty Lindsay on the bench.
I think it's the right move. You've got to find a little bit of rhythm with now Gaines on the floor. Can't have Scotty Lindsay picked up that 4th.
Skelly inside. He started the game with the hot hand for the Wildcats. Now back within 6.
Well, Skelly benefited from what Creighton's been doing, which was just clear out. Let a guy make a play in a one-on-one situation. That's a travel.
Well, right before the second half, we saw this. Remember Toby Hegner?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Coach McDermott. And the look on the face of Toby Hegner tells the tale.
I mean, look, man, it's just a human dynamic to this game that you just can't say enough about.
Senior, he's a grad student. McIntosh off the pump fake, steps in for a pair. He's got 16.
The execution offensively for Northwestern has been very good. They might be losing the game, but in the half court, they've been highly effective.
They're losing this game by 4. Good pass inside, though, to Foster. Foster has it rejected down low. Wildcats on the push. Continuing the surge from the end of the first half. Wall for 3. Wildcats within 1. A 7-0 run to start for the Wildcats.
The convergence for defense is key. I mean, the help down low helps you get the ball out. And in transition, this is a Northwestern team that thrives with early shots in transition. They get good looks. They have multiple shooters. And the bench likes it. Barrett Benson, what was that, little hair pick?
And the foul on Law. That'll be his second. Second on Law.
You gotta get that volume up. My volumizing shampoo doesn't do that good of a job.
No, that one really,
yeah.
You can make some money on that volumizing shampoo.
I've tried everything. There's just no hope.
Foster with the 3, that's short. Rebound tip to McIntosh, able to lob it in to Derek Parton. Wildcats on an 18-4 run going back to the first half and looking for their first lead since 8-7. McIntosh trying to provide it. Can't get the floater to fall, and the rebound out to Thomas. Jays on the push. Kyrie Thomas in transition. The run, and it's a 3-point lead.
That is so well done. We call it the Euro step. Well, it's officially becoming the American step because everybody in the college game is learning how to use it. James Harden had one the other night, might have been last night. It looked like he took about 5 steps, but it was so well done that it looked like a travel, but it wasn't.
Oh, nice play inside. Vic Law getting to the rim.
This is high-level basketball, man.
Thomas, the tip up and in. I keep looking at the calendar, John, and thinking, is this, what, February, March? This feels like one of those kind of games.
And it's good to mention, too, this also feels like a neutral site. It's a Northwestern court, but again, let's remind you, they're playing their games out here at Rosemont, out by the airport in Chicago because of the construction that's happening at Welsh Ryan Arena. When you're good, money comes into the program, and you fix up your arena.
Ball 3, good, and a foul.
Vic Law finds himself open on the down screen. It really, actually, let me correct that. He wasn't really that open. But if you're not there on the catch, he has the ability to knock down the shot. I think Northwestern is getting a little bit of confidence here. Defending much better to start this half, but execution gives you confidence. When you know you can get open looks by executing, working as a unit, I think it just gives you more and more confidence, and the crowd's starting to get into it.
They were down 15 with 5 minutes to go in the first half, and the Jays answer with Crumpel inside to regain a 1-point lead.
On campus right now in Evanston, just think about getting out. This is a really good basketball team. This game is cool. Both teams are high level. But support this team. This is one of the best Northwestern basketball teams I've ever seen.
And they're only going to get better as the season goes along. Law feeling it. Hits again! 12 points in the half for Vic Law. Looking baseline. Foster on the spin. Tough shot. Skelly the rebound.
That's what it's got to be. You got to force those tough shots, and if he makes them, live with it. Just get back out and get on the offensive end. Now, good opportunity for Chris Collins' crew to get something easy. Execute. Offensive foul.
And that's Derek Pardon inside. That's his third.
Look, I don't like the call, but it's the right call. They're being taught to keep your hands down. Vic Law just knocking down big shot after big shot. But if you're posting up, you cannot get your elbows out. You've got to keep your arms bent if you don't want to pick up that foul call. I don't know what I would do if I was playing. Goodness, it's hard to play. It's hard to play in the post, fight in the post without fouling. It's hard not to foul the defensive end. It's hard to fight for position as an offensive player. This is what we're talking about. It's extending the arm. And you know, it's not egregious, but that's what they're told to call, and it's foul.
Scotty Lindsey back on the floor. About 40 minutes of real time Scotty Lindsey was sitting as Kyrie Thomas gets to the rim. And this game's all tied at 59.
For Northwestern, you got to keep him out of the paint. Sounds simple, but that means as a defender, you have to force him where you're comfortable with him going. You allow him into the paint, teammates get into the play, and spacing leads to open layups. Gaines looks more aggressive on offense, doesn't he? It looks like he's I saw him earlier in a possession in transition calling for the ball.
McIntosh leaning into Crumpel, trying to get some contact and a foul. McIntosh able to save it. Excellent play by the senior.
The vision. As he's up in the air, he found a teammate. He knew exactly who he was throwing that ball to. So he can get Scotty Lindsey back involved in this game.
Working against Crumpel. McIntosh, the turnaround rolls home.
Or just make something happen.
How many times have we seen him do that in his career?
Yeah, he's really been able to take over games. It's not like he's elevating over anybody.
Mintz on the lob, Crumpel on the finish.
How do you cover that? I don't know how you cover that. It was almost great defense. If anything, you may just have to pressure the ball even more to take that pass away. Because Gavin Skelly was right there on him.
In against Crumpel. Skelly. Scotty Lindsey to work. Down the baseline. No, but a foul.
We are watching some really high-level basketball here in the middle of November. I mean, it looks like these are February-type teams. McIntosh able to take over the game at the end of the first half, but the execution for Creighton has been absolutely tremendous.
A stalemate with 14-17 to go, tied at 61. Let's take a look at our Wendy's conference news and notes. Big Ten with the early 2-1 lead in the Gavitt game. About Jordan Murphy in that win at Providence from Minnesota.
Well, he's just been a beast to start the season. Seems to be playing with a certain sense of urgency this season. He understands how important he is to this team, but then Purdue. Can't say enough about how good Purdue is. I've been getting crushed for saying it because I still believe in a way it's addition by subtraction. You lose Biggie Swanigan, and it's not that they're better because they lost Biggie Swanigan. They're better because these other players have to develop to the point where they're more balanced. Where in February, March, you're not just throwing the ball down low to Biggie and hoping he makes a play.
Maryland up by 10 over Butler in the Gavitt game going on right now as Scotty Lindsey hits the free throw. Vic Law and Bryant McIntosh, 37 of 62 points that Northwestern has scored in this one. McIntosh has scored or assisted on 15 of the 23 total field goals. In other words, a typical Bryant McIntosh game.
He's kind of a big deal.
People know him.
A lot of leather-bound books.
The dorm smells of rich mahogany. Alexander, the skip.
Don't all Northwestern dorms smell that way?
I think they do. Oh, what a shot from Thomas in the corner, and Creighton back up by one.
Thomas has been the guy. He has been very aggressive on the offensive end, looking to make something happen with the dribble, but also just all the confidence in the world shooting the basketball.
McIntosh at the foul line. Not going to hit that one. Ronnie Harrell.
He might have gotten caught on the arm.
Boston quiet tonight. 1 for 6 from the floor, just 6 points. Harrell to the rim. Skelly with the rejection.
Vic Law wanted to shoot that shot. I don't blame him.
Here's Gaines with 12 on the shot clock.
In a weird way, the foul trouble is getting some bench players great experience. I think you're learning a lot if you're Chris Collins and staff.
3 to shoot, gotta hurry. Lindsey will jack one up from the top of the key, and that's an air ball. Good defense by Creighton. Northwestern didn't really initiate a whole lot.
Good defense, but yes, and that's the correct term. I mean, commend you on that, Kevin. The correct term is did not initiate. Initiation is one of the most important things you can do if you want to get into that rhythm and flow of the offense, the movement. It's one of the issues we talked about Michigan having. They just need someone who can initiate the offense to get into that movement. They've had a lot of success when they've been able to get that initiating pass in, and Bryant McIntosh gets to move and then puts himself in a position to make a play.
Alexander, Crumple against Skelly. Harrell on the weak side able to put that back in, and Creighton stretches it to 3. There's Derek Pardon against Crumple. Pardon with a left-hand hook. And the rebound tip to Alexander. He's on the run. Harrell.
Have they ever not been today? I think
they've been running.
This so entertaining.
Crumple working against Pardon. Lost the handle on that ball. And the Wildcats will go the other way. Lindsey in transition for the tie. Won't go. Rebound to Ballack.
A good look, but not an easy shot.
Harrell. And a charge is going to be called. Harrell barreling down on Vic Law. And one of the best defenders in the Big Ten takes the contact in the charge.
Well, and understanding all the foul trouble, you have to make sure you get yourself in position, and great job of keeping your hands down, too. Sometimes as you try to raise your hands, it looks like you're putting hands on the offensive player. He just kept his hands down and took it on the chest, which is no fun. It's not fun. I mean, some guys do it. They really make a career out of taking charges. It's not exactly fun, Kevin. I don't know how many charges you take on a daily basis, but
after that issue we had at lunch today, no more barreling into me after you grabbed your sandwich.
Potbelly was good.
And a foul is going to be called on Marcus Foster. Derek Pardon trying to spark this Northwestern squad the way he sparked them to the big dance I've ever had the fortune to be in a building 4. I mean, that was so
great.
cool.
It was, I mean, I was doing the following game with Dave Revson, and we were just sitting there watching, waiting for this thing to get over, and to see that happen at the end of the game was unbelievable. Bryant McIntosh, that was a set play right there. Let me tell you again, once again, out of the timeout, set play was to clear out and let Bryant McIntosh get into the paint.
Alexander, wow, finds his range again. How impressive is Tyshawn Alexander? He's got 14.
It is a neon green light, and if you have a shot, you've got to take it. In a way, it seems as if they're almost forced to take it. And Greg McDermott says, if you're open, you have to take it, otherwise you're hurting us.
Lindsay back to McIntosh. Inside, McIntosh got to the rim, didn't get the finish, but got his own. 4-point lead for the Jays. 9 minutes gone in this second half.
Good patience. You saw a little fist pump there from Bryant McIntosh. He knows he missed one, but got a second chance opportunity here.
And Lindsay leaves that one a little bit short. Scotty Lindsay 2 for 6 from the floor, 1 for 5 from 3. And Kyrie Thomas lost the handle on it. Skelly helped jar it out of his hands.
And this is what I talk about. This is a set play. It's going to be a ball screen. Derek Parton breaks it off, thinks he has an opportunity to drive, and if you go under the screen, poor communication, just too easy. It's two really good teams, but a lot of things that could be cleaned up.
What you'd expect due to the point of the season we are.
It is November, yeah.
Ooh, nice crossover. McIntosh to the elbow, a little bit strong on that one. And Ballack lost the handle on that ball, loose, saved by Tyshawn Alexander. Fade away by Foster, a little strong. Rebound tip to Skelly. Cats have cooled off a bit. They were 7 of 9 to start the half. 1 for their last 9 from the floor now.
Oh, I think both teams have cooled off a little bit because the defenses are starting to figure things out. And as you miss a few shots down the stretch, you start to pull it in a little bit. You reel it back in a little bit. You might not be as aggressive shooting the basketball.
7 to shoot. There's Law for 3. Thomas going the other way for the Blue Jays. Thomas working inside against Derek Parton, and the foul's going to be called. And for Parton, that's number 4.
And that's a tough one. I mean, he was in position, and if he does drop the arms, that's a foul. And that's one of those ones you want to teach players just to wall up. Isaac Haas has done a really good job at learning that, just walling up, staying straight. Let's see if he drops the arms. Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot, but if you just wall up, force the tough shot. We think so much about big guys deflecting shots, getting blocks. If you just alter shots or make them take the toughest shot possible, you're lowering the percentages.
So Parton has to leave. 6 points, 4 fouls. And Barrett Benson comes in.
Barrett Benson's been effective, though, too. Plays with a lot of energy. Very active. He's going to attack the offensive glass. He's going to rebound well defensively on the other side.
Well, he has the experience. He was forced into that role when Parton hurt his hand for about a month last year. Benson had to start 8 games during that stretch. 10-2 run for the Blue Jays to open up the 6-point lead. Benson inside against Suarez. Vic Law with the floater. That's a charge. And for Vic Law, number 3.
This is where if you're Northwestern, you want more space. So if Barrett Benson's going to kick it out, you need to get out. So you have a little more space. I would love a no call in that position. Just a no call. Didn't run him over. Not sure. Did he make that shot?
It did go in.
It did go in.
Yep.
I'm not watching, apparently.
There's a lot of things to do right now. Ball bounced around, and it'll stay on this end. So add one for the Big Ten in the Gavitt tip-off games. Maryland defeating Butler tonight, and now the Big Ten 3-1 right now in the Gavitt games.
Yeah, Maryland's a good team. They are a very good team, and you know about the pieces with Jackson, Anthony Cal, and Justin Herter.
Foster to the rim, the tip up and in.
Marcus Foster just threw 3, and then that's what opened up the rebounding opportunity for Suarez. But you've got guys like Fernando and Obi for Maryland, just some active bigs, and they're going to, not sure what they're going to call on that
No
one.
shot.
Apparently, no shot. He waved that off 5 times.
Vigorous, and there's another wave off. As the foul's going to go on Ballack, his first.
You know, I think both of these conferences, you know, such strength last year. We know about how great both conferences were, but not as much talk this year. And I think it's underrated depth. I don't like the term underrated, but I just used it.
Vic Law with a 3. Big 3 for the Cats, and a timeout taken by Northwestern.
An emphatic timeout taken by Northwestern and Chris Collins.
Vic Law, 5 of 8 from 3, keeping the Cats in it.
Northwestern Wildcats putting up quite a fight here in the second half, and it's really come down to Vic Law and his aggressiveness on the offensive end. You see him getting to the basket, but to me, it's the 5 of 8 from 3, extending the defense, going to open up driving lanes, and he's knocking down tough shots. These are not wide open shots. Good execution. Another one for Vic Law.
4 points shy of matching his career high at 26 last year against Eastern Washington on November 14th. Here it is November 15th.
Yeah, it's a different opponent.
Yes, this is a much different opponent.
Literally, it's a different opponent, but
yes.
You get what I'm saying. Just got to make sure you're keeping up sometimes, Kevin.
I'm glad I have not called Creighton Eastern Washington one time tonight. That prep really paying off. Sean Alexander, 15 on the shot clock as he gets to the elbow. The jumper by Alexander won't go, and then there's going to be a foul underneath.
And that's going to be on Scotty Lindsey.
Number 4 on Lindsey.
And it's tough. I mean, it's going to be on the arm because he's a little late getting back into position. And it's not even really his position. It's a little bit of a shove. And Scotty Lindsey has never really had an opportunity to get into this game. And you realize how important rhythm is for a guy like Scotty Lindsey. When he came back from the illness last year, it took him a few games to get into the rhythm and the flow of the game, and he didn't shoot it particularly well until a few games back. That foul trouble hurt him in the first half.
Down to Suarez against Benson. Trying to hold his own against the big man he does. Good rebound by Benson as well. McIntosh, who has rested only 46 seconds tonight, continuing his early season trend of playing almost every minute.
Who needs it? He's young.
What did he tell you before the game? I could go 45.
That's what I said.
There's Benson on the catch. Can't get the roll, but he'll go to the line.
I saw Brian McIntosh in the locker room, and I said, Brian, are you ready to go 40-plus minutes tonight? He goes, yeah. I don't need to come out. And that's the type of competitor he is. He's going to give his team a chance.
Part by State Farm, here to help life go right. Life going right tonight in the big city. Creighton fans traveling to find their team on the road. 73-68, Northwestern down 5, 7:57 remaining in the second half.
What a great tagline, right? Helping you make life go right.
Yep.
I can't argue with that, right? How can I say no to that?
Life's going right when you've got good November basketball to keep you warm on a cool night.
My feet are cold. We got ice under us.
Yes, we do.
Well, I did double it up. I have 2 pairs of socks on, but it's still rough.
You're a veteran.
You know what? I'll power through.
That point by Barrett Benson on the free throw, the 3rd bench point for Northwestern tonight. Creighton has outscored Northwestern on the bench 32-3.
Yeah, I wouldn't get too stressed about that. Yes, the bench scoring is an issue, but bench production can come in many forms. And if you just come out and spell Bryant McIntosh for a couple minutes, you know, if Barrett Benson can spell Derek Pardon when he gets into foul trouble and play good defense and get rebounds, then the job's done.
Now that's it. Creighton fans should be really excited by that bench production, because that's a lot of youngsters and newcomers to this team that have been able to do that.
Oh, Ballack's on another level, too. That kid can play.
Tyshawn Alexander's had a good night. He steps out there. 14 for Alexander. Ballack has 6 off the bench. Suarez has performed well with 8 points and 5 rebounds.
And he's obviously had to come in the game because Hegner going out with the injury. I mean, look, these are high-level basketball players. Anybody who's playing at this level has been a star wherever they came from, unless they transferred from Kentucky. You know.
McIntosh feeding Law. Vic Law with 22. Vic Law with 24.
It's a big-time shot. And Northwestern's had a lot of success if they're able to get someone in an ISO situation into the paint. The crowd starting to get back into this game.
6-0 run for the Wildcats to cut it to 2. Entry to Crumple against Benson, and a foul. When the action ends, the Big Show takes over. Highlights from around the conference, post-game reaction straight from the arena, and in-depth expert analysis. The Big Show after the game right here on BTN.
And that call right there, you may not think it's a foul, but it is. You have to take your hands off of the ball handler down in the post. It might have been a travel, but probably came after the contact. They're taking away the hands on the ball handler in the guard position. You got to do it down low as well.
1-1 for Martin Crumple.
It's hard to play defense. And here you can see, I mean, just there it is. It's not bad, but you got to play with your hands up.
And it was the left hand that snuck in. Crumple hits a pair.
I mean, if he doesn't touch him with the left arm, it's going to be a travel. It was good defense. And these are all things that you work on, you watch in film, and you clean up for the rest of the season.
Benson. 10 on the shot clock as Gaines will back it out to McIntosh. 4 to shoot. McIntosh going to work. Fading away over Crumple. Good as the shot clock goes off in the background.
Not much more you can do about that. Crumple played great defense.
Thomas, good look to Crumple on the baseline. Kyrie Thomas, great feet.
Yeah, I mean, just so tough to match up, especially if you have a guard who can pass, who has great vision, who can also post up. And you saw the good patience and the vision to find the open man.
In the corner, Gaines will try the 3. The air ball caught by Crumple. Now Foster to the other end. One-on-one against Law. Nice defense by Vic Law.
That was a great contest. And he didn't contest just to block the shot. He contested to force the toughest shot possible. That's what you do against some of the best offensive players in the country. If you're in the NBA and you're covering LeBron James, you're not going to stop him. Force him to take the toughest shot possible. And no, I did not just say Marcus Foster is LeBron James. He's good.
I tweeted it out. McIntosh on the drive to the rim, and it's a 2-point game. What a fun one tonight.
Yeah, it really is.
And the answer from Kyrie Thomas. Under 5 to go. Creighton 79, Northwestern 75. A gem in the Gavitt games. And to shoot for Vic Law. The turnaround, good over Ronnie Harrell. The 3 from Foster. Oh, what a time for Marcus Foster to hit his first 3.
I mean, not shy at all. The kick out, you have to be with him on the catch, which means you can't do what you're trained to do, which is stay too far on the help side. Seems like things have picked back up.
Barrett Benson inside. Oh my, he missed it. And a foul will send him to the line. He got so wide open, I think it surprised him.
Hey, look, sometimes you're too open on a three-point shot. That time he was too open on a layup. Kevin, we have one heck of a basketball game. 4 minutes to play, 5-point game.
82-77. Creighton over Northwestern. 4 minutes remaining second half. Kevin Kugler alongside John Crispin. There's Bruce Rasmussen, not only the athletic director of Creighton, and a terrific one, but the chair of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee. This game is important not only because he's here to see it, but these are the kind of games that you talk about in March when you're in that room trying to decide who's a seed and who's in and who's out.
Look, you can't ignore this game. I mean, the two teams, especially this earlier in the season, you know there's a lot of room for improvement. Players are going to emerge. There might be some guys that we're not even seeing much of right now that emerge to be a key component of their team in February, March. And not to mention, these are two teams that have a certain system that you have to get comfortable with, and it's playing with a certain pace and tempo that is not that easy.
One more for Benson.
Barrett Benson had a wide open layup before he was able to get the loose ball and get fouled.
2 for 5 at the line tonight is Benson. He's got 2 points.
But you're right, though. Sometimes you're too open. You're looking for the defender.
4-point game, 4 minutes to go.
I think he's going to be a real key for Northwestern. I'm talking about Barrett Benson. He plays with a great energy, and he's a positive kid. I think he's going to end up having a good season.
Harden comes back in, playing with 4 fouls. Marcus Foster just 2 for 10 from the floor, but it doesn't matter late. Marcus Foster heating up.
And he shushed the crowd a little bit on that one. A little bit. He did it the whole way down the court. But 2 big shots. I mean, you got to expect that. Just like Bryant McIntosh has taken over, he's done the same.
Vic Law rings that one out. Mintz. Put the brakes on a little bit now.
Yeah, but this is where you have to be careful if you're Northwestern. I mean, stops are huge, but empty possessions are really going to hurt you down the stretch. So says Captain Obvious.
Foster trying to take it over late. There's Thomas. Kyrie Thomas working against Scotty Lindsey with those 4 fouls. That's short. And McIntosh going the other way.
Yeah, Scotty Lindsey's got to continue to use that length to gap.
He'll try the 3. And we've got a whistle and a foul going the other way. That's, I believe, Vic Law, who picks up his 4th.
Marcus Foster, you said it's not a big first half, 6 points in the first half, but he's come up and hit some big shots, and he knows how to quiet the crowd. God, I love basketball. I mean, seriously, sometimes we lose sight of that. You know, we get involved in the game, and you know, we're trying our best, right? You know, we study, we watch film, and we try our best to broadcast it the best way possible. But sometimes you just sit back as a fan and think about how special this is.
So this is one of those games.
It's November, yeah. Usually I say that at the end of the season.
Got a foul on Krompel, battling for a rebound that was well secured by Northwestern, and that's going to make a march to the other end. Krompel with his 4th, and Northwestern a chance to score a couple of points with the clock stop.
Yeah, you're going to have to knock foul shots down the stretch. I was going to say down twice, so I tried to space it out a little bit there. You see, yeah, again, still cobwebs. It's November for me, not for these guys.
Technically still November for them, too.
At some point, if you start to pick up a little bit full court, just to force them to bring the ball up if they're not going to push, play with tempo. I think taking the tempo out of the game for Creighton would be a mistake at this moment. I think you still have to continue to push and apply pressure on the Northwestern defense. Done a great job of getting Northwestern to chase plays, and I think you have to continue to play to win. Again, we talk so much about playing not to lose. Well, you've got to play to win at this point.
28 career high for Vic Law. 5-point game. Crowd trying to get into it again. Mintz on the lob to Krompel. And a travel. The turnover by Krompel. 9th Creighton turnover, and it goes back to Northwestern.
Big possession for Northwestern here. And if you can get set up, get something where you got Bryant McIntosh working from the wing into the paint, I think that's when you've had your most success. See if you can get to it. Bryant McIntosh is going to end up out at the wing.
Kelly inside and a hold. As Parton rolled to the basket, he'll go to the free throw line instead as Foster picks up the personal. 3rd on Foster.
It's funny how often big guys get open when you set screens for them. It's almost as if you're you're trained instinctually to think that the guard is going to receive the screen, so you start to hedge out to help. And Derek Pardon was able to turn that corner, get to the basket.
This is the front end, though. Big miss for Northwestern. 5-point Creighton lead with the ball. Thomas with 10 to shoot. Under 2 minutes to play. Thomas. Tough floater. Won't go. Rebound to Vic Law. Law looking to push. At the free throw line. Vic Law hits again.
Not a lot of guys will take that shot. It is not an easy shot. Vic Law just got this crowd believing they can win this game.
Foster's drive to Crumple. He tried to quiet him with a shot earlier. Now trying to calm him down with an assist. Ball 23 of his 30 in the second half. Feeling it again. Mints the push. 3-on-1. Harrell fouled by McIntosh.
That's a good foul by Bryant McIntosh. Just tough shot. Just wasn't the look that Chris Collins probably wants. But Vic Law's got him back in this game.
Tomorrow night, the Buckeyes hit the floor for non-conference action against Texas Southern. Big Ten basketball tomorrow, 7 Eastern, right here on BTN. Streaming live on BTN To Go and Fox Sports Go.
And if you haven't gotten enough Kevin Kugler tonight, tune into that one.
But if you have, tune in anyway.
Oh, Kev, I give you more credit than that.
1 for 2 for Harrell. 2-possession game. 1:05 to play. Lindsay. Oh, what a three! Scotty Lindsay just 2 for 7 from the floor before that shot. And he brings the Cats within 3 in a timeout.
I think I need to explain how big of a shot this is. I mean, Scotty Lindsay has really struggled tonight to get into the offense. A bit of a prayer, but gets it to go. Not only do you get the timeout, stop the clock, you get to set up a little pressure. Got a 1-possession ball game. You got to think steal first at this point, obviously. Think steal first, but you can't let them work too much clock. Still 58 seconds, you still play the possession out.
First field goal of the half for Scotty Lindsay. Well, it's time now for our State Farm assist of the game. We're going to go back to the first half to find this one.
Gosh, I feel like that was ages ago, but we found a good one. Great execution. Team does so well in set opportunities, partially because of what you have to do in terms of respecting Bryant McIntosh, but they share the basketball very well.
To shoot for Creighton. Maybe on Mintz on the drive. Mintz rejected. Saved by Law, but a whistle and he's out.
And the shot clock was reset. They're going to have to take a look at this. Ball obviously did not hit the rim, but they may say he had possession. We'll see where he went out. Oh, ooh, I don't know. Wow. Wow. I mean, the good thing is they will take a look at this. Did the ball hit out of bounds?
Boy, not that.
How was he out of bounds? Was Vic Law's foot out of bounds?
They'll look at this.
Yeah.
This is really an interesting one. And a critical call here.
And I'm not sure if they're trying to say that his foot landed before he got rid of the ball. That clearly was not the case. I did not see his foot out of bounds.
We have two questions. One, was he out? And two, if you stay with that call, what about the shot clock?
First, I mean, what you'd be saying is that Vic Law had clear possession.
Correct.
And that's why the shot clock reset. I mean, I have a tough time after watching that replay imagining that Creighton somehow gets this ball back. I have a tougher time thinking this crowd would allow it. Man, I mean, we just looked at it again up on the big screen here, and he was not out of bounds.
His foot hit after the ball got out of his hand.
Left his hands, and they're putting the shot clock to 11 and giving Creighton the ball.
Wow.
And I don't see how that's possible. So here's the shot clock. Did the ball land out of bounds? I think that's what he's saying.
Yep, that's what he's
They're
pointing
saying
at.
the ball landed out of bounds. It was not about Vic Law. The ball landed out of bounds. They got it right.
That's the only thing that could have landed out of bounds.
Yes, because it clearly was not
So
Vic
by the
Law.
time Vic Law got to it, the ball had already gone out of bounds.
I think the question was if the shot clock reset, then they would have said Vic Law had possession. Not the case. Still time on the clock for Creighton, and Northwestern needs a stop.
Vic Law nearly got the steal. Kyrie Thomas got to go to work. 6 to shoot. Thomas from 3. Rebound by Crumple. Crumple puts it back in, and the Jays by 5.
And the switch is what led to offensive rebounding position. You're forced to switch. Good defense by Derek Barton. But when you switch, Crumple dives to the basket, and he already had position to get that rebound. It sounds easy. It sounds easy to say Vic Law go get a rebound, but you're going to see the switch up top. Crumple sets the screen, and as soon as he gets the screen, he dives. He's already in position to get the offensive rebound. That is a tough play for Vic Law to make.
Martin Crumple, unsung hero tonight for the Jays. 17 points, John. 12 of those 17 in the second.
Yeah, and again, doing this with Nobi Hegner going out with the injury. He's still over there on the bench. He's been with his team every single time out. He's been up. Got to commend the kid whose ankle seems to be stabilized at the moment.
He is on crutches, as you can see. The ankle wrapped heavily. Saw it in the first half. He came down battling for a rebound and rolled his ankle, and immediately went down. We saw the hug at the end of the first half coming out for the second half from his head coach.
Now for Northwestern, you've got to get the ball up, and if you can get something at the rim with very minimal time coming off the clock, you've got to take it. Doesn't have to be a 3 at this point. Still 2-possession game.
There's Skelly. He'll try the 3. Got an open look, and he hits.
Or you take a 3 if you get an open shot. What the heck am I talking about? So much attention goes to Bryant McIntosh there. 2 players go with 1 because you're concerned with the playmaker that is Bryant McIntosh. And Gavin Skelly gets himself an open look. Got to think picking up full court pressure at this point. There's 2 going with 1. Gavin Skelly still got to be concerned with him. He is a threat from inside and from out.
14 on Monday, 14 tonight for Gavin Skelly. So now 17.7 seconds to go. Creighton up by a pair.
Yeah, I think what I like in this instance is if you don't get a steal, maybe look to double. Force the pass into a tough spot for the offense to pass out of. Try to get a steal out of the double team. If you can have a good double team with good length, you might have an opportunity at a bad pass and a steal. Just can't let too much time go off the clock. You're bringing in quick guards at the moment, so you got to think it's going to be a denial situation. I think length in this situation, you look at Duke last night against Michigan State. It wasn't the zone that caused the turnovers. It was the length that forced you into bad passing lanes that caused the turnover. So I like length in this situation. God, we've had a good one.
12 of 14 at the line. Northwestern 12 of 19. Now they don't want to send Creighton to the line.
No, and that's why I think you got to go steal first. And if you don't get the steal right away, give yourself a chance with a hard double. You've got Bryant McIntosh back deep. If the pass gets thrown deep, he's going to be the one fouled.
No timeouts left for Northwestern in this one. Thomas into Foster, and there's the foul. So Kyrie Thomas, who is a perfect 7 for 7 on the year at the free throw line.
He's had a very good game, too. I mean, he's been aggressive, both with the ball in terms of making plays for teammates, but also looking to score. You're a much better playmaker when you're a scorer. And we talked to Greg McDermott about that with point guards today. The point guards that you recruit today, you don't have to tell them to be scorers. They already come in with that mindset. Not many more John Stocktons out there. And if there are, they might not be at the Division I level.
Thomas at the line for a pair. 22 points, 11 rebounds tonight. And this young man out of Omaha, Benson High School product of Omaha. Former Benson Bunny is now...
Is that real?
That is real. I would not make that up.
I clearly didn't catch that one in the game notes. The Benson Bunnies.
It's a 2-possession game. 15 seconds to go. McIntosh, Skelly, pass tipped. Tipped again. They gotta hurry, 6 seconds. Law from the corner for 3. Not gonna go. Creighton's gonna win one on the road, and a big win for the Blue Jays at Northwestern. 92-88 the final for Creighton.
It's a big win, but I gotta say, this is a great game for both teams. Northwestern doesn't get the win, but you see the potential of this team, which was also a really tough matchup for Northwestern, a team that doesn't have the depth yet. Going against a Creighton team that plays with such tempo and pace, put them into tough situations on the offensive end in the first half, which led to a lot of foul trouble for Northwestern, but